What's going on, everybody? How's everybody doing today? We are going to be talking about some Mandalorian. And this episode was a lot better than the other ones. I'm not going to say it was spectacular, but it was pretty good. And I don't know what happened to CJ. CJ was just on here, and then all of a sudden it just said bloop, bloop, and went off. So,
but we're headed in the right direction.
Yeah, it's definitely headed in the right direction. It was a lot better than the fucking previous episode. It was just pointless. You know what I'm saying? At least it had some action and some suspense and some, you know what I'm saying, some heartfelt shit and some fucking betrayal and there was all kind of shit going on in this damn episode. It definitely was one of those episodes that kept you on the edge of your seat because you didn't know really what was going to happen next. But at the same time, there was some things that I was like, what the fuck? Y'all really walked into that shit? That shit was kind of stupid. As soon as it went from fucked up world to looking like imperial fucking shit, y'all should have got the fuck out of there. I don't know why y'all kept going. But I guess we will find out next week. Star Wars team leaders in the chat. Dr. Skywalker, J-Dog, Clinton is here. Star Wars team leader, Chris. What's going on, guys, man? There was a lot of stuff. But before we get too far into it, hopefully CJ comes back. But before we get too far into it, let's go ahead on and drop that intro.
This station is now the ultimate power in the universe.
At last we will reveal ourselves.
I have a bad feeling about this.
You are now tuned into LightSaber Radio. If you only knew the power of darkness.
Here it comes.
Let's go.
You are now tuned into LightSaber Radio. 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hello there.
What's going on? This is
It
great.
didn't even say hello there.
Hello there. What?
Do we usually say hello there?
At the end of
It
it,
says hello there at the thing.
Oh, you mean
Kenobi
the
it was such a smooth transition out of it. We didn't get the Kenobi saying hello there.
Oh
like,
shit, we're gonna have to figure that one out. It might be some shit that changed in StreamYard. I don't know. Well, we got CJ and Tori. What's up, Tori? We missed you on Saturday. You feeling better?
Yeah, a little bit.
A little bit.
A little bit.
Don't let her fool you.
story of my life?
She said, "Fuck this! I'm talking about some damn Mandalorian. I missed out last week."
Oh man,
It was
Oh
more
yeah.
of a.
Oh, I do need your rating for last week, by the way, Tori.
I'll give it an 7.5.
Jeez, whoa.
Wow.
Not
they
what I
didn't
was
like it as
expecting.
much as we did.
No.
So,
I had it at a 2.
So I liked it, but I didn't like it all at the same time. I just did it.
7.5 is
7.
liking
I'll go
it.
7.5. Just honestly, I didn't watch it on Wednesday because there was just a bunch of stuff that happened. And so CJ was talking to me about it the next day, and I wasn't feeling good. We were dealing with, my sister-in-law and some stuff going on there, and he's sitting there talking to me about it. It's like that sounds like a fever dream.
Oh yeah, when I explained it to her, she's like, "Were you high watching it?" And I'm like, "No, it happened." She's like, "I don't believe you." She puts it on and watches it. She's like, "Oh, you weren't joking."
I was like, I thought you were fucking with me.
I thought I was having a fever dream, or
Somebody's
I was like on some
speakers
acid
are
or
out.
That
something.
puts our
That shit was
average.
so
Our
bad.
average for last week was 5.12.
That shit was fucking terrible.
That was
So
the
somebody's
worst one
speakers
we've
are out.
had so far.
That shit was fucking like, what the fuck? Why is Jack Black and fucking acting like a weirdo? Why?
All right,
We got
let's get to
Rizzo.
this one. Let's get to
We
this
got-
one.
Okay, yeah. We
This
gotta get to this one.
episode.
All right,
Yeah,
so let's go through the
definitely-
chat right quick.
Yeah,
See what everybody's
definitely
saying
more
in
on
the
the
chat.
right direction. I like
Called
Star
it
Wars
again.
team
The
leaders.
best car in the shuttle was going to be from Moff Gideon's Dark Trooper armor, not the Mandos. Yeah, we knew that before
Yeah.
the beginning of the season, right? Because then
No.
they showed then at the beginning of the season they show him in the Mandalorian armor.
No,
Remember
he
the
was
Moff
wearing his
Gideon
normal-
poster came
remember,
out.
yeah, but remember like the space shuttle, and they're like, oh look, the Mandalorian. Like, why would there be Beskar in the shuttle escorting Moff Gideon?
Yeah, but we kind of knew that, though.
Yeah, I mean, like, a lot of us knew it, but a lot of us assumed that, but because we didn't think I don't think that was one thing I think that fell short on that episode. I don't think many of us really thought that the Mandalorians had helped him escape.
No, I mean everybody.
Most of us were like, "All right, he just has Beskar armor."
I had it like a hankering because of the Super Commandos. The Super Commando.
But did you at any point did you really think, "Oh, the Mandalorians are teaming up with him"?
Hey,
Well, the ones that were for the Empire, maybe.
No, okay. Let me get, because actually, CJ, you the one brought it. Well, I had a feeling, but CJ is the one that pointed it out about his armor, about Moff Gideon's armor. Who does his armor look like?
I mean, a little
His
bit
helmet
like
looks like Maul. No, his helmet has spikes.
It's a Mandalorian helmet. That was the first thing. That was the first thing I noticed.
Well, no, but it also
you stole
looks like
CJ's thunder.
No, his helmet looks like the armorer's helmet.
Yeah, it looks like the
Kyle and I
armorer's helmet.
today with the 45-minute phone call that we had, the armorer's helmet and Moff Gideon's helmet are way too similar for me to feel comfortable with the situation at hand.
The entire episode, CJ and I were like, it's not going to happen this episode, but armor is gonna
I think the armor, dude, I kept getting that feeling as like, so first off, the name of the fucking episode is Spies, not spy, but plural, spies, so more than one. Well, we seen what's her face in the beginning talking to Moff Gideon. You know what I'm saying? The little help, the projector with the
Then they had a little bad guy powwow where they had a council of bad guys like the Doom League or something.
Well, who is the other spies? And I don't know. Every time the armor just seemed like she was way too, like, okay, go back to the last episode, okay? Or the episode before the last episode.
Well, you think the armor's in on it?
She tells fucking, she tells Bo-Katan to take off her helmet. She tells Bo-Katan to, you know what I'm saying, reunite the Mandalorians together. Okay, now just hear me out here. So she gets so basically she has Bo-Katan set everything up to get all the Mandalorians together. They're all together. They're down on they go down to to Mandalore. They're looking for the thing. She goes back up to the ship. I'll take the survivors back up to the ship. Okay, so she takes the survivors back up to the ship, or the injured and the people that need help. She takes them back up to the ship. Then they go into the thing. They get attacked. They follow the people. Then gets captured. Everything that's happening. Dude, it's just, I don't know. Their helmets look too much alike. Their helmets look too much alike. You know what I'm saying? They're almost identical, just other than color.
Well, color and the T-visor, those are the only two things that got me, was the color and their T-visor are different.
But they got
Moff Gideon's T-visor is open and hers has that split down the middle. But other than that, all the spikes are the same spot. The way the helmet's shaped, the chin guard is shaped, the whole helmet looks the same except for the T-visor.
To me, that's like a little too on the nose. Like, what fucking villains are that stupid where, hey, I'm going to be an undercover agent and nobody's going to know, but we're going to make our helmets exactly the same.
Okay, so you want to know what's stupid? Is Superman and Clark Kent. Glasses are the difference between Clark Kent and Superman.
Superman was made in the fucking 50s, bro.
Yeah, but okay, you got that different, and they still stuck with it. But it's the same thing with here. Is supervillains?
I don't know.
Hey, man.
I don't know.
It's the similarities that are throwing me off. I will be shocked if they do not make the armor a bad guy. I don't think it'll be this season. I really don't. I think
it'll be next episode. I think it's going to come out next episode because he sent the bombers to go attack them. So what does she do to sabotage, or what does she do in the next episode? Because, dude, the whole episode, she was just, you know what I'm saying? She was just way too kind. She's picking up shit and helping people. And, dude, you ain't seen Armor do shit.
Well, and the fact that she pointed out the hole in the wall. When she went back to take the rescuers, before that, she pointed out the hole up in that crater before she took the survivors back. She's like, hey, Axe, go through there. And then took them and got on the ship, and Axe went through there to go fucking warn them when they got ambushed.
Dude, there was just
Was that
way too
her?
many things that just everything made me feel like she's like not like some was off about her this whole episode. And then when you add in the helmets and you add in all the other stuff, it was just like, oh man, I think the armor is a fucking traitor.
She
I
just
think
her,
she's like-
her
I
whole
think-
demeanor this episode was sketchy. It was very you are very sus. Like,
And then
there's
the name of
something
the
going on.
episode is Spies. It's not just one. We know who the first one was. I mean, we know she's a spy. But then it says Spies. That's plural. That's the other thing that got me. So who's the second? And I kind of had a feeling like maybe Axe is. Axe might be on the bad side. I think actually somebody said that in the
I could kinda see that. I
J-Dog
could
said
see
that in
Axe,
the
yeah.
chat
I
too.
don't
But I
see
kind of feel
Axe-
like I don't know. I don't trust this Axe dude.
Well, when we watch the beginning, when they go in and they see the forge, Axe looked too emotional
Yeah,
to
he
want
was
to be on their side.
brokenhearted about
Like when
it.
he's like, this is where we live. Like he seemed
is where
very
the
broken.
great-
The armor had no reaction to it.
Yeah,
it's
but that doesn't
the
mean
great-
maybe
the-
like they're cutting a deal with him. So
What are you gonna
like so he could still feel strongly about Mandalore and be a double agent. Like maybe he's cut a deal with Moff Gideon. Moff Gideon's like, yeah, I'll help you. You can have Mandalore as long as you side with
Except
me.
that doesn't make sense because Axe was there when Moff Gideon double crossed Bo-Katan. So he already knows that Gideon doesn't hold up to his word. So why would he be stupid enough to think that, oh hey, this
Fair.
time
Oh, he's a man.
do something stupid once, okay? In definition of insanity, doing something over and over again and expecting the same result. So I don't think that Axe different result. I don't think that Axe seeing and witnessing Moff Gideon destroy Mandalore the first time after not holding his word with Bo-Katan, Axe
Alright.
Wolves wouldn't be that dumb to go back
Maybe.
and do it
I
again.
can see that.
Okay, let's go back right quick. Let's see. Chris says, so with the episode called The Spies, is that referring to the Mando survivors rewatched and noticed that the dude steering the ship into the creature and
Yeah,
conveniently
like
led them
right
into
into
a
the
trap?
creature.
Yeah,
Well,
what was
probably.
it? 'Cause it-
So I think with that, I'm going to pull this up. I think with that, there's a reason why he did that, and I think it's mainly because he knew they could not run it, and if he could throw that ship at him, get the hell out of there, and practically blow up some of that creature to kind of like wound it or sway it from following them, they were going to. There's a lot of different ways this could have went with that. I honestly believe they did that to distract the creature, not, hey, we don't need a ship no more. We're right here. That
Well,
was
my
way too convenient. It was
Well,
way too convenient. So for me, it's
also
swaying
thing
either
on
way.
that was when I was looking at it, I'm like, all right, these dudes been here for fucking ever. They didn't know the Empire was fucking mining Beskar.
Great point.
You know what I'm saying? I was just like, all right, there was
they
just a
come
lot of
across
weird
this-
shit going on
They
in this
come
episode.
across this giant like flipping Empire thing, and they keep pushing forward, and they're like, oh, let's keep looking more and get ourselves into more trouble. I was like, come on, man.
Well, and at the same time,
They were just focused on getting them cleared out. They were defending their planet at that point, though.
Yeah, but you don't
Yeah,
have
but at a
enough
certain
people.
point, you realize that there ain't no defending what's just you can't win. I mean, look at Bo-Katan when she was. I mean, and I like that part too because Bo-Katan came out and was real with everybody. She could have just been like, I don't know what the fuck happened, you know what I'm saying? But she came out and was like, no, I made a deal with him so the people wouldn't get killed. So my people wouldn't get killed and all that, and you know, so they might have already been like, oh shit, we traitors too, but fuck it, we don't care. We gonna fuck you around.
Speaking of Bo-Katan and the LightSaber, I wasn't here when the episode was it last week's episode?
Yes.
Yes, it was last week's episode. I wasn't here, obviously. I told all of you.
Yes,
like I said,
I gave
you got the
your
acknowledgement.
Props. I gave you your props. Which I still think it's a fucked up way to get the LightSaber because technically he got captured. He didn't fight nobody.
But he was also disarmed and was on the verge of death. And she
Yeah, but you're
defeated said
supposed to do
creature.
that in mutual combat, not in.
It was mutual combat. He got his
And he
ass
was
kicked.
walking, and next thing you know, he was trapped.
walking, and then he was unconscious.
Yeah, you
He
know what I'm
was
saying?
on guard the entire time he was in that cave.
And then the thing just took it, and then the thing didn't even take the Darksaber, just threw it on the ground. You know what I'm saying? So technically, that's not a battle. That was a.
I
that-
don't know.
that was just a weird way to get around,
I
but-
think it's a little like, all right, buddy, we're bending the rules a little bit here, but okay.
But it's all right because it got the point that I think that the traitorous armor is got.
Either the
she might-
Mandalorian, I think it's either the Mandalorian pirates that
I
were
don't know.
left or the armor. And it might be both for all we know. It might be
I
both
could
of
see
them.
the Mandalorian pirates, like the ones that were still on the planet. You mean?
Yeah, I think because like you had a point there, Garrison. How the hell are you there for 15 fucking years and yet you just don't stumble upon an Imperial stronghold?
Well, they also said that they were skimming the surface. They were skimming the surface, moving away
Yeah,
from.
But they knew where the forge was
At some point, you're bound to see like fucking shipments of some kind. Like this thing is not self-sustaining on a Mandalorian by itself with no evidence of landings or Imperial shipments.
But
or
how do you know
materials.
how do you know how to get into the forge and you don't stumble across that room?
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm
That's what I'm
saying.
saying.
Like
You
there's
proved
no
it. You
way.
had a point there. How do you not stumble upon that the first time?
So Chris said also Grogu is literally a waste of space. Like when Din got captured, why did he not use the Force to open the door? Force choke Gideon and crew, or literally anything helpful. So how I see that is Grogu was captured. Moff Gideon had the doctor put him and was like pulling blood and all of this. He was a lab rat for Moff Gideon. He was probably terrified at that point. He was like, shit,
So he's too scared to do
PTSD.
anything.
I think I think there's some
For
trauma
me,
behind that.
Grogu's the biggest example of like writer's convenience. They're like, oh, when we're backed into a hole, Grogu has the Force and he can do it. Or when other times Grogu is not strong enough, he's not going to do this. So you know what I mean?
I'm still gonna
back and forth depending on what's
I'm
going
gonna
on.
pull up the
That was one of the
IG-12.
best parts
He
of the
has-
episode, though.
He has the worst plot armor and the
The
worst plot weakness
the
I have
entire-
ever seen.
The entire time that Moff Gideon scene was going on, I was like, that Darksaber could go through that blast door. Why is she not doing it? Like, why are they just standing behind this stupid thing while, all of this? And CJ's like, she probably doesn't want to let him know that she has it. She's trying to, like, he thinks that Mando still has it. And I was like, no, it doesn't sound about right. And then right next scene was her busting through the back blast door.
Yeah, she cut through the blast. I don't know.
All I gotta say is my favorite scene, and I agree with Kyle on this because we talked about it earlier, was when they gave Grogu IG-12.
Yes.
Yeah, that shit was hilarious. He just kept
No,
saying yes,
no.
yes, no, yes. When they were walking, and he just yes. I was like,
Okay, so they had a missed opportunity there because there's a speech button. He could have put dad in there.
yeah.
Dad?
Or father. Like when he was getting taken, the saddest moment is when his ears dropped and he was sad about that moment. He could have put, like, you could have had a father no kind of moment or dad no kind of moment where he presses that button and he's like got his head down. And it was that moment, but they didn't do it, which I'm okay with either way because his facial reaction still sold that oh fuck moment,
That shit had me dying. I was laughing my ass off.
First of all, Paz Vizsla, I was not really the hugest fan of him, but he got my emotions.
Dude,
emotions.
the guard.
Really?
And CJ, I went back
didn't
and
give
looked.
a rat's ass when he died.
I went
I was
back
like,
and looked.
oh.
So me and CJ was talking earlier, like, because we was on the phone earlier, we was talking about them is the guards that was from Snoke's guards. These guards, they might have the same weaponry as Snoke's guards did, but they have more of a Mandalorian mask. They have the T-visor mask that was more based off of the the temple guard like masks. So they had the T with the 2 slits on each side that came up like this. So they're not the same Praetorian guards as the ones that were in Snoke. They have the same weaponry. So this would technically be the first time that we
Like a
see that
precursor?
weaponry, that type of weaponry.
Yeah, it's kind of a nod. It's a nod to what we're going to see in the future.
Yeah,
What I
because
loved about
they
the
have
whole Paz
the-
Vizsla thing, though,
each one of the guards, each one of Snoke's guards has a different face mask. Some of them have the graded face masks that go this way with the helmets that come down like this. They look different. So I was like, oh man, because at first I thought, I was like, them is the same guards. So these guards had to be around for a long time. They should be pretty dope.
So
But-
J-Dog, I'm going to acknowledge that. I did too, and then I remember what Dave said during Celebration. The end of the Mandoverse is the movie Dave is directing. So we will see the end of Mando in the Dave Filoni.
I don't know.
Well, ain't they projecting
And-
that will be the
Yeah.
last movie that's done? So that's not going to be till 2029. So if it's 2029, well, and I was kind of thinking about this too, because if you really think about it, we got Ahsoka coming out. We know Ahsoka's going to be a part of it. We know Boba Fett's going to be a part of it, of the Mandoverse movie. We know that Mandalorian is going to be a part of it. I personally believe the Skeleton Crew somehow will be a part of it too. They'll put that in there because that's all the stuff that's going on during this time period. I think that I just don't know. I mean, that's basically 6 years from now. So in 6 years, they got to do a whole lot of stuff in order to, you know what I'm saying? So I know that that they said that there's going to be a season 4 of Mandalorian. There'll probably be a season 5. So that's, you know, if they do one every 2 years, that still only puts us at like 27. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, all right, at some point they got to stop making something, you know, because we know Book of Boba Fett ain't gonna come back, but we know Boba Fett's gonna be in the thing. So I just don't know how they're gonna do it. I can't fathom the way that they're gonna do it, because to really have, you know, even 3 more seasons of Mandalorian, like
I think
dude,
what
it
they're
seems
gonna-
like y'all are running out of ideas now.
Yeah.
I don't think they're. I think they'll do 1 or 2 more seasons, but I think we will get another season of Boba Fett. I know, with Tim putting his word out and saying like, "Hey, you know, I didn't like how this first season went. Let's see what we can do with another," and keep saying it like he keeps preaching it. And even Daniel Logan talks to him. Like we went and met Daniel Logan at the Comic-Con here, and he talked about talking with Tim, and Tim he's off shooting something. Daniel wouldn't say what, but he's off shooting something.
I
And
just
that's
don't
why-
see. I don't see where they could take Boba Fett now. I mean, you done completely changed the character, so I don't know where you could take him.
Well, and beyond that, like, I think it had a bad enough reception that even if you did make it, you'd have a lot of fans that would.
But
be
if
upset
you
and not
don't,
really care.
how are you going
But
to
at
fill
the same
gaps?
time, I
the
guess
time
with
span?
that argument, they're still coming out with Ray. So
Yeah, I was about to say, well, and that was the thing. Like, if you're looking at a timeline basis, so let's say we get Ahsoka, right? We get Ahsoka in August, and then the next is Skeleton Crew, and then we have a supposed movie sometime in between that, right? Let's say right after that supposed movie, we do another season of Mando, Boba Fett, season 2 of Ahsoka. If they give us another season of Ahsoka, Ewan McGregor's pushing real heavy for another season of Obi-Wan.
I could see
He
them
was
doing
preaching
another
that-
season of Obi-Wan.
He was
Obi-Wan
preaching that
didn't
all
do.
Celebration weekend.
I could see them doing another season of Obi-Wan. I just don't see the. And if they do another Book of Boba Fett, it'll be just to connect, and it probably
Yeah.
won't be for a while. It'll just be a connection season, and it's not. I think it'll have more of the Mandalorian. I actually believe, and this is something I was thinking about today. Was I have a feeling we'll see Boba Fett in the next episode of Mandalorian. I think we're gonna see Boba Fett. I think we're gonna see
Chrysanthemum. Well, and it was very convenient how our favorite Wookiee was at Celebration, but so was our other favorite Wookiee. Carrie was there, and he was on the panel, and they were talking about Boba. They were talking about like his potential roles coming up, and he's like, "I'd love to come back as Chris Anton. You guys gave me that suit, you gave me that opportunity. I would always love to come back. It would be very convenient if all of a sudden we got Boba Fett and Chris Anton just showing up on Mandalore to assist,
And then what's her face was on TikTok. I mean, she was on. Was it on TikTok or Instagram today? Saying
Ming-Na?
something about Ming-Na Wei was on there. She just posted some out of the blue and some stuff with she was in costume. So I'm like, all right, that's just real convenient. You ain't posted nothing in months in your costume or anything even talking about Star Wars at all. And now all of a sudden you just pop up with this. So I could see them all being in this next episode to go rescue Den. Like Bo-Katan calls in everybody to come rescue, and it'd be like
You
a
could
big
even
mashup.
have what was that? What was that cowboy guy's name? The one that I really liked.
God Vamp.
Cobb Vanth. Yes.
Calling in all the troops to come help out to save, because they got a big ass battle to fight. And I want to believe that because they name dropped Thrawn in this episode that he would show up in the last episode. I just don't think it's going to happen. The more I thought about it, the more I thought that they're going to wait till season 4 to drop Thrawn. Thrawn's going to be the big drop in season 4.
My thing is with how kind of few and far between their good original ideas are. I think they're going to wait to use Thrawn. I
think Thrawn has to show up in Ahsoka before they let him come out in Mando.
What do you got to say?
I think so too. Kyle, along with what you said about Fennec and all of that. So I saw the post. The post wasn't her in costume; it was an animated character of her.
No, there was one with her
as
in costume.
Fennec, because
it's not on there anymore. Then it's the animated one.
Yeah,
then.
It's the animated because
it popped up because I have her marked for notifications. So anytime she posts it comes up on my feed.
So she must have deleted it because the only one that's
strange
on there.
when they start doing shit like that. That's always a tricky sign when they start doing shit like that they're gonna do that. I can almost guarantee she's gonna pop up, or they're gonna leave us on a giant ass cliffhanger for next episode to draw everybody to season 4.
So
they don't rescue Mando or some bad. They have to retreat, and they don't rescue Mando, and that will be the start of season 4.
So the thing with the post that she just recently made about her in costume was because Favreau is pissed because she let it slip during Celebration that she was going to be in Bad Batch season 3 and confirmed that a season 3 of Bad Batch was happening. And she's like, oh yeah, I get to be in Bad Batch now. And then everybody was like, whoa, wait, what? And so that was a post that she made earlier. I did not see anywhere.
She must have deleted it.
She deleted it.
So
Chris said the prediction that is going to sacrifice himself in the next episode. I heard rumors that Pedro is done with Mando. They don't even need Pedro. Pedro's only in 2 episodes of this entire season.
Exactly.
They could literally put him in a voice booth for 5 hours and he did the whole show.
Bro, that's the thing. Mandalorian's not even the main character anymore, man.
Well, no, Pedro. That's the thing.
Pedro was also doesn't even need to be the Last of Us season 2. He doesn't have to be a Celebration. He's got other jobs under his belt right now.
Yeah, but my thing
and that's
is
the thing. The only time that Pedro really needs to be there is if he takes off the mask. That's the only time he really needs to be there.
You fly him in for a 5-hour thing, 6-hour thing.
Yeah. I mean,
and then he can go back to doing what he's doing.
They don't even have to. They don't even have to use his voice. They can AI his voice now. All they got to do is do the voice.
It's a lot of money for a name, is what it is.
And he got a lot of stuff already recorded. You know what I'm saying, that they could mimic his voice almost perfectly. Yeah. And it's not like he even has that many lines. If you look at it, mostly, especially in this last episode, he didn't even talk that much. It was mostly everybody else talking.
He said that one thing Sorry.
So the whole thing with
My only concern is
Pascal-
this. This is my only concern. I know everybody here heard the rumors that Kathleen Kennedy and Jon Favreau got into it pretty big, and Jon Favreau told, and this is rumors because nobody knows for a fact. Only people that really know is Kathleen Kennedy, but a lot of people are saying that Jon pretty much told Kathleen Kennedy to get the fuck off of his set. Quit coming down here telling me what I can and cannot do. So we don't even know for a fact if John's going to
Good
stick
for you,
around.
John. Good for you.
I don't think they'll get rid of John because he's making them money right now. I think that would be a
I
bad.
think
Hold
they
on.
will.
I don't think they will. I think that would be in bad interest of Bob Iger. I think Bob Iger is going to either tell Kathleen Kennedy to step back or step aside because
Hey,
John and Dave.
I just read a rumor this morning.
No, I'm going to be real about it. I think it would be a bad decision if
It
Bob
would
Iger
be a bad
pissed off.
decision, but when has a bad decision
So-
stopped them?
I just looked it up because the whole rumor about Pedro Pascal leaving. That was a joke that he made about how it was taken out of context. He was telling a reporter that he didn't want to say anymore because he thought that, he made a joke and he's like, well, I think that if I say anymore, they're going to replace me. Not just as Mando, just like in life itself. And so he made that joke there. As of 6 hours ago, he did make a statement saying that he is not planning on leaving Mando anytime soon.
Well, good. But back to this whole John and Dave thing. I appreciate you clarifying that because Pedro Pascal is daddy. I don't think Bob Iger will get rid of John and Dave. You get rid of John.
Dave ain't, it was
Hold
just,
on. Let me
it
finish
was just
this.
John. John was talking. From
that's-
my understanding, John told her to get off his set, and if she keeps coming down there, he's gone.
But if you piss off Dave, because John and Dave are best friends, they went into this together. They started this together, and I'm pretty freaking sure they're going to end this together. You
So
piss off
think
John.
if John did leave, Dave would leave too?
I think
No.
Dave would be like, you
I don't
either
think
figure
Dave
out.
would.
I don't see
Hold on,
that.
let me finish this. I'm not saying he'll leave. Let me hear me out here.
Okay.
I think Bob Iger, he is smart. He came back. He saw what was going on with the franchise. He saw what was happening. Shelved everything that he didn't like. Right? We saw that. We have confirmation on that. We saw it at
Well,
Celebration.
Kathleen Kennedy said, "Ain't nothing been shelved. Things have been put on back burners, not
That's what I'm
shelved."
saying. It's practically shelved. If Iger says no, it's shelved. Until he feels like it's a good enough script and they rewrite it to his liking, it's shelved. But
Yeah, but I only see
I
Bob
don't
Iger
think-
being here for maybe 2 years, and then he's going to be gone.
Well, he even
He's
said
getting
that.
too old.
I
He
honestly,
even said he's only going to be here until he can find a solid replacement and train him up.
I think if you lose the two people that are making you the most money, look how much money Jon Favreau has made for the Marvel and Disney franchises. He started with Iron Man and made the Infinity Saga the most well-viewed and most money-generated product Disney has up until Mandalorian.
But
And then came in
at
and
the
did
same
Mandalorian.
time, he might leave Lucasfilms and not Disney. He doesn't have to leave, because you got to remember, even though this is all Disney, these are separate entities within Disney, and so he could leave Lucasfilm and not leave Disney. You know what I'm saying? Because if Kathleen keeps pushing him, he's gonna get pissed off and leave because she's down there trying to tell him what to do. John ain't used to that. When he did Iron Man, when he did everything else, he had open reins to do what he wanted to do. And to take that away from him is kind of fucked up. And Kathleen's down
that's
there
where I'm
trying to
getting
tell
at.
him what to do and
All
shit.
right. Let CJ finish, get to the end.
But
Oh, I'm
where
sorry,
I'm
I'm
getting
sorry.
at is that
No, it's okay. We're all
If-
interrupting each other.
yeah, I know we're kind of scared of what's going to happen here, but I think Bob Iger is going to look at this situation and tell Kathleen, back the hell off. He's doing everything. Don't. You lose him, Dave will lose interest. He'll do what he wants, and you won't like anything Dave does because it's not what you want. I think if you don't do it, if you don't listen to John leaves. Dave's just going to do whatever he feels like he did with Clone Wars. All of Clone Wars was Dave and George. It was, hey, George, what do you think about this? Oh, no, I don't like that. Let's do this. And then they agreed. They never had a spat on what was going to bad happen. You will never see an interview where Dave Filoni will sit there and say, I got in a full-blown argument with George Lucas because that made no fucking sense. Nothing. There is not a single thing.
Well,
He
you
is
can't
so
really do that.
Well, when you're
They-
brought in to be George's right hand man, you're able to combat and be like, hey, maybe we should do this. Because even Sam Witwer comes on and they're doing the whole Mortis arc and told Dave, hey, that makes no sense. Padme met Shmi when Anakin was a kid, so that makes no sense to be like, hey, mom, this is Padme, like meeting her for the first time. So I don't see that happening. I see a lot of Bob Iger telling Kathleen either stay in office and approve things, or I will replace you. He's got the power, he's got the voice, and at this point, there's not a lot of people happy with Kathleen. There's not a lot of things on her side that are very great. She was only at Celebration for 2 hours this last weekend. 2. She showed up one time to do a panel, hung out for a minute, said hi to everybody, and left. There was people on Twitter. Anthony Daniels said, I talked to Kathleen for 5 minutes, and then she said she had to get on a plane and go back to California, which in turn, I can see why, because she is running, the Star Wars franchise. But at the same time, wouldn't you want to connect with the fans? Wouldn't you kind of want to do something like that? So I don't think, and that's a big screw you to us fans.
I think.
Well, I don't know if that's to say, because it's not just the Star Wars that she's worried. I mean, she got to worry about Indiana Jones. She got to worry about. I mean, there's other projects that Lucasfilms is working on outside of Star Wars. So, I mean, we don't know exactly what's going on. She came in and made the announcements about the new movies that's coming out. And then she talked a little bit about the stuff that like nothing is shelved, everything is on the back burner until we can come up with a good. Because she said that if they had to, with the Rangers,
Rogue
Squadron, that it's either going to be a movie or a TV show, even if they have to replace the Hartlet or whatever her name is, even if they have to replace her, it's going to happen. It's just they haven't got anything that makes the scripts were not to their liking as of yet.
But that goes back to my point of Iger not liking Kathleen interfering, and I think it will be money or Kathleen's voice, and I think Iger is going to look at the money. And what do you got to say here?
I think that Kathleen possibly could have been planning on staying longer for Celebration. However, when she walked out and didn't get nearly the reaction that Favreau, that Filoni got, that literally anybody else got, any of the directors, anything, when she did not get that reaction, I think that was her kind of thing of, oh, okay, so I truly don't need to be here. Deuces, I am going back to California.
She did not get any reception
She didn't.
whatsoever.
And the entire interview, because I sat and I watched the entire thing, she was very bland through it. She tried to show emotion, kind of here and there. She was very bland through it. Like, there wasn't the audience interaction that there was with literally anybody else that walked across that stage. She doesn't care. She saw that the fans don't like her. She saw that the fans were not there for her. She did not get the reaction she wanted as Lucasfilm, and she threw a temper tantrum and left.
I could see
Granted, there are other projects going on.
I don't know. Even when I watched the John and Dave one,
I don't know.
I don't know. It just seemed like they were off. They were offset of each other. It didn't seem like they were in the same tandem as that they're usually in. I mean, usually they're almost finishing each other's sentences and stuff.
I'd agree with that.
And this time, it didn't feel like that. It felt like they were kind of like.
But did you see Dave's reaction to the crowd, though? He even stated, he's like, this was a lot more than Anaheim. And I think it freaked him out, because you see Favreau's so used to saying hi to everybody. He's so used to running into people, and Dave's always to himself. So
I don't know. It
think
just
with
seemed like they were offish to me. I got like a bad vibe when I was
I don't
watching
know.
theirs.
I think I don't know if Kathleen Kenny was like throwing a temper tantrum. I just think like it's no sweat off her back. Who gives a shit? Who gives a shit what fans think of her? She makes millions a year.
Yeah.
I wouldn't give a rat's ass.
I would, because I'm creating something to build generations from, you know.
Well,
Something
that's going to
pass down and
happen
pass down.
regardless. That's what a lot of people fail to realize. Like, so just based on this season of Mandalorian, we got episodes that we like, and then we got episodes that we don't like. But it's always going to be there. And they're always going to keep coming out with new Star Wars projects. As long as there's fans, there's going to come out with new projects. So it doesn't really matter. You know what I'm saying? To her, regardless, she's part of Lucasfilms forever.
Well, I think that's this philosophy of Star Wars in general right now. It's like we have fans, like they're gonna watch whatever we put out. So who cares?
Chris, I agree. She is the Roger Goodell of Disney. Oh man, that's a good
Exactly.
comparison.
But like I think that's the philosophy of Star Wars in general. They're like, we have fans who are gonna watch just about anything we put out. So who cares?
I mean,
I
it's
think
like,
I want to address Bodhi's thing here because we all watch Celebration, correct?
yeah, I watched
I did
most
not
of
watch
it.
all of it.
I didn't watch all of it. I watched,
Okay,
I
well,
watched
we
all
watched-
the interviews, most of the interviews. A lot of that, just the off-brand, just talking. They're just talking for no reason, like the hosts and shit. I was
Yeah,
skipping
I
through
try to
that
ignore
shit
them as much, but
because they was
he
kind of
asked,
annoying.
what was your favorite interview from Star Wars Celebration? I enjoyed the Acolyte Darksiders a lot. Cast seems brilliant. I have to agree. I really loved that panel. I really loved what they talked about. I loved how they were describing the feel on set and how it's dark. It's mysterious. It's, you know, it's something else. You know, it was an offset kind of feeling when you're on set. And I loved that.
I honestly, I think the Tony Gilroy one was one of my favorites because I like the way that he explained. I like the way that he explained. I mean, because he explained shit that I really wanted to know. And I'm like, dude, and then it made me think, it kind of activated my imagination because when he was saying that each one of the seasons or each 3-episode arcs is a year. And it's going to lead right up to the point. I was sitting there like, oh, shit, man, how they going to do that? Like, dude, this is going to be like, that means every fucking thing has to be like action-packed, you know, raw as fuck type of shit to do a year every 3 episodes. You know what I'm saying? Because it's leading right up to the point where they're on Kafari or however you say that shit.
Yeah.
Right up to that point, it's like, dude, so they going to have to they're putting in a lot of work for 3 episodes to be an entire year. You know what I'm saying? That's a lot of work. So this is going to be interesting to see them, how they progress this. Listening to the way he described shit was just like, oh, shit, man, without giving away. Some people were just saying shit. I think they were kind of blowing smoke up our asses on a lot of shit that they were saying. But I don't know. For some reason, Tony Gilroy's, I think that was when he was talking, I think I got the most excited out of everything. Like, for some reason, that shit just had me super excited listening to his. And then I'd have to say the Ahsoka Dark Side. I mean, not Ahsoka, but the Acolyte Darksiders was probably that intrigued me a whole lot, more than even the Ahsoka stuff. I don't know. The Ahsoka stuff kind of had me a little worried. Like, you guys sound like some idiots. It's like they were trying so hard not to say the wrong shit. You know what I'm saying? And I got that out of a lot of it. But I don't know. Tony Gilroy just came out right. This is what's going to happen. It's going to be this many episodes.
Honestly,
I was like,
if I had to top my moments, real fast, I want to do one more moment off of Celebration because we are coming off Monday, and Monday was the last day. I think my favorite moment of all time, and it just popped up on my Instagram, is Dave Filoni crying on stage, getting emotional about how the fans have inspired him to keep moving forward with Disney and Lucasfilm and Star Wars and making these projects. I think that got me to tear up. It welled me up because, like, you don't see that from directors or from producers and stuff. You don't really see that a lot of emotion. It's a lot of thank you. I appreciate it. But, like, him thanking the franchise for keeping him and understanding his mind, and for the fans for loving his projects and wanting him to return and keep doing these things. I think him speaking on that and getting emotional, I think that's what kind of set Celebration apart from everything else.
Well, and then also when he said that his love for the expanded universe.
Oh man, that really got me smiling.
That right there, I was like, yes, because that means that we're going that the whole point of Dawn of the Jedi is going to go back to the beginning. Now they might start bringing some of the things that I think that they're kind of listening to the fans. We want Revan, we want Bane, we want Malgus, we want some of these characters, and I think that by him saying that was kind of his hint that that's the direction that they're going.
So Garrison, I think you were wanting to go back to the episode.
Oh yeah, I was kind of I mean, we have to at least give the rankings for this episode.
So hold on, I want to put favorite moments. What's our favorite moments from this episode?
From this episode?
Yeah.
The Grogu thing. The Grogu walking talking about, yes, that shit had me dying. That was my favorite part of this entire episode. And I'm an action-packed guy. I love action. But I don't know, that shit had me giggling. I was laughing like this, yes, 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 when he was walking down the thing, and then he picks up the food, and he's holding it away from Mando. That shit had me dying. That shit was fucking funny. And I think that right there, because this episode had everything. We had action. We had, when Bo-Katan was talking, she was, it was very emotional. It had everybody upset when Mando told him that he would stand by her regardless and gave her his speech. And then they had the funny part in it. It just had everything in this episode. And I think that's what overall made the episode pretty good, because the story wasn't the strongest story. It was a good story, but it wasn't the strongest story. I could see it being made better. But at the same time, there was everything that was in the episode made it really good. But my favorite part was definitely the yes thing. The yes, no thing. That shit was hilarious.
What about you?
I think so. Honestly, my favorite part was the scene between Wolves and Vizsla on the pirate ship when they're sitting there fighting over the chess game, and Grogu just sticks IG's arms out and goes, no. And he just looks up at Bo-Katan and is all proud and like, look, Mom, I do good. And Bo-Katan's like, you've taught him well. And Mando's like, I don't fucking teach him shit. That ain't me. And it was a cute little nod of like, no. I'm not the only one here. Like, he did not, like, that's you.
I think I have two scenes that I enjoyed off this episode. One was the Imperial ship flying over the base camp, and it has the big mythosaur under it.
Oh.
And we're watching it last night, and she's like, man, nothing says fuck you more to the Empire than that mythosaur right there as it flies over.
It's stupid late or early, however you want to look at it. Everybody in the house is asleep, and there's oh my god, I was like, shh, but that's the biggest fuck you ever. The biggest fuck you.
And then my other one, it has to be the same scene Kyle says, but after the little alien gets out and he walks over to Grogu, no hug, bad baby, no hug. And then he's like, I don't want Grogu getting in that thing. And
Grogu's already in it.
Grief Karga's like, well, give him a second. Let's give him a shot.
I don't know. I just like that whole part. That was a good part.
Yes.
Yeah, Admiral Palin and Hux.
Obi-Wan, hey, never seen you in the chat. I don't know if the boys have or Tori has, but welcome to the show. I'm glad you commented. Try to be more active because we love talking with everybody.
We don't know you here unless you join chat.
But no, honestly, this episode, there's a bunch of favorite parts, but the no hug, bad baby. And he's trying to walk as fast as he can away from Grogu. And then like I said, that Imperial ship with the big mythosaur under it. Like that was, if something's going to punch you in your teeth, it's that logo flying over your head. Because that was huge. And I wonder how long it took them to spray paint that.
I don't know.
What about you, Garrison?
I think my favorite was probably either the first scene, kind of similar to you, where the Imperial ship is flying over, mainly because it brought me back to like the opening scene of the first Star Wars.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It was a nice little nod to that. And then also Grogu separating them from fighting. It was the first time we've kind of seen like there's the Jedi and Grogu, like the Jedi, like, you know, because that's so Jedi to like try to preserve peace, stop people from fighting. And I was like, oh, there's the Jedi upbringing showing through a little bit. So
I think the other one was the Paz Vizsla. I got one more, and it's the Paz Vizsla dying scene where he's just destroying those Imperial commandos in the Beskar armor. He's just hucking them off the edge one by one. I think that was a very good nod to Clone Wars.
So really quick, those Imperial Star Destroyers, 1,600 meters, which go out to 5,249 feet.
Jeez.
That's a big Mandalorian sign on the bottom of that shit.
Yeah. No, I think Paz coming and sacrificing himself the way he did was a very big nod to Kix when we see him sacrifice himself to the droids, the heavy gunner in the Clone Wars.
Yeah.
When he sacrifices himself, I think that was a very good nod to a lot of Dave's work. Was like, hey, John, I know this is your character. You're not playing him no more. Maybe we can kill him off. What do you think about this? And I think John was like, yeah, that sounds pretty badass, but he better not go out like a bitch, man. He better be taking like a good 20-30 before he goes, which he did. He took out. Yeah.
I like the part where I liked it because his gun, he was firing the gun so much that the whole thing was just red.
Melting.
He was like, screw this gun. I don't need this gun.
I love that he pulls this tiny little shield out and his vibroblade, and he's like, I'll just stab him at this point.
I love the fact that he just looked like this is Sparta, just kicked that dude off that cliff, and then, or the, whatever.
But I did like the J-Dog brought up a good point too, because the Shadow Council, and then let's see, where is it at?
I still think they should have killed Din. Like Din Djarin, he probably should have died. Like, there's no reason for them to.
And then I like the fact that we seen Admiral Palin. We got Hux was there, and actually the dude that plays Hux is supposed to be his dad, but it's actually his brother that's playing the character.
Yeah.
That was kind of cool that we got that. I like
that. Actually was cool.
I immediately got on. I got online. And I was Googling it, and Kyle was like, yeah, he was in the credits. And I Googled the name, and I was like, it's the guy's brother. He's his older brother. That's kind of cool, you know? Kind of looks like an older father figure kind of deal.
I'm not going to know this because I did not get into the Heir of the Empire series yet. Well, I have not. Chris says the ship also reminded him of Thrawn's ship, the Chimera, with the huge emblem on the bottom.
Yeah.
That was a good... Hey, Chris, Hey, I didn't even think about that. That was like a very intimidating thing when Thrawn came through in the books. You saw that logo, you knew something was happening.
There was a lot of good things. I didn't, and looking at it over the episode, the fight scenes were pretty good. The choreograph was all pretty good. The special effects was all really good. There was a couple points. There was one point that you could actually see the background flickers, which, I mean, that's kind of hard. I don't know why they didn't just cut that out. And then there was a few times that the sound was off, but it was all pretty close to, perfection. When it came to
perfection. When it came to like editing.
Yeah, like editing and the CGI and stuff like that was all. I mean, it was pretty close. Like I said, there was one thing you see the background flicker. It's when the animal was when the arm comes up, the background flickers because it's all them TVs, the whole little because they're all shooting in that giant ass fucking auditorium that's just covered in TVs. It flickers. You can see a flicker. And I can almost guarantee that the fucking editors is gonna be like, nobody will ever see that. The fucking thing is moving, it's giant, all kind of shit is going on. You know, it's all fucking impossible for anybody to notice that, but I noticed it. And then there was a couple times where you heard the sound before the blaster bolt went off. You know, that's just typical though. It's hard to get that shit all perfectly lined up. The CGI was all pretty good. What CGI that they used, it was close. It was really close. I watched it twice, and during watching it twice, I didn't even catch the flicker till the second time I watched it. I didn't even see it the first time. But the second time I watched it with more, I'm in depth. I'm in the studio watching it, and I can, click back and forth and look to see exactly what's going on. But it was pretty close to perfection with everything that they did. People like landing and. They're when they're landing and rocks is flying at them, the rock that's supposed to hit them actually hits them instead of just goes through them and shit like that. And so like we seen in the book of Boba Fett, like that wall just go right through that dude. You know what I'm saying? I mean, he's still standing there. That was kind of weird, but yeah, it was pretty good.
So, what do you rank it, Kyle?
I'm ranking it. This wasn't like, I don't know. There was better episodes than this,
it was
in my
better,
opinion.
But there was still some cheesiness. And
like I said, the storyline, I think they could have done better on. It was a good story. It just wasn't a great story. I think they could have really took it to a different point of view. There was some things that just like made me feel like, why the hell? As soon as you guys seen that it was Empire, you're running down caves and it turns into an Empire stronghold. Why do you keep running? It's time to back up. Y'all don't know where y'all going. It's
and even when I'm sorry, one of the things that bugs me when they do get into fights, like they're standing straight up, just like pew 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 pew, like bro, like take some cover or something. Like, come on, man.
So I'm gonna give it a 7, a strong 7. I'm gonna give it a strong 7. Like I said, I liked a lot of it. It was way better than the episodes that we had watched previously. But it's one of those episodes that until I see next week's episode, and if next week's episode it stays in tandem and it leads us to somewhere that we really want to know, it can make it better. But as a standalone episode, I would say a strong 7, maybe even 7.5, but I'll go 7. I think there was some things that they could have done better.
All right. Who wants to go next?
Go.
I guess I'm being voluntold.
Chris says he gives it a 7, step in the right direction, but again, if this episode was placed maybe a few episodes earlier, it would have been higher. And I agree with that too. Lenny says 8.5. Obi-Wan says focus on the positive. Star Wars Team Leader says 8.1, just a little better than an 8.
I would give it a solid 8. I enjoyed it. There was a lot. I really enjoy the fact that you're able to see like that with Katie Sackhoff and everybody acting with helmets and your face covered is extremely hard to do anyway, but especially with that scene where Mando was getting dropped and all of that, even through the helmet and everything, you could see the entire group's just defeat and pissed off and everything, even through their armor. And I really enjoyed it. I loved the music. The music
was excellent.
The score, I'm a huch music person. I've been playing instruments.
It wasn't so much of the like the off-pitch recorder sound. Like
God,
when the Praetorian Guards came in and the Duel of Fate type of feel came in, that shit was
just everything. Like
that was spectacular.
I've been in band and everything and all the instruments and since I was a little kid, and so that's a huge thing that I look for is music and how it flows and how it fits into the music science behind everything and all of that. So I overall really enjoyed it.
All right.
I'm giving it an 8.5. I gotta agree with J Dog.
Yeah, sounds about right.
Whatever.
No. I'm not. I'm
And
sorry.
Garrison comes in with the 3.
I'm not like
One better than last
criticizing.
week.
I just know, like, I'm just good at predicting like what you are gonna put. I know what you like.
I have it at an 8.5 for reasons. One is I do agree with you in a lot of what I think Chris said about Grogu just being a space, like just a just in case moment kind of thing. Because if Grogu wasn't there, the show still would have been an 8.5 for me. So honestly, there was a lot. Like I said, Paz Vizsla sacrificing himself is probably one of my favorite scenes so far of this season, because he was always about himself. He was always to himself. He was always trying to one up Din.
A typical Vizsla.
Yeah, it was, yes, a very typical Vizsla, and I love that they wrote his character to kind of be like a
Can
free.
I ask something about that?
Yeah,
Sorry, I had a hard time like feeling like super bummed when he died.
I did.
Like, I didn't have the same emotional connection that I was expecting to, I guess.
The only reason why I felt that way was because of his son. He worked so hard to get his son saved, and then he turned around and sacrificed himself.
Mm-hmm.
Just so what? They could possibly get Mandalore back. We don't know what's going to happen this next episode. We really don't know.
And
This could end on a cliffhanger, and we could go into the next season
I have a
an
feeling
all-out
it's gonna,
war.
I don't know. Just after the way they left us on Bad Batch, I have a feeling they're gonna leave us on a fucking cliffhanger. And I think they're gonna start off real
Without a
strong with
doubt.
season 4, with everybody coming in. You know, they're gonna bring in Boba Fett. They're gonna bring in Cassanton. They're gonna bring in Cad Bane. They're gonna bring in everybody to go rescue Din. I just have a gut feeling that that's what's gonna happen. Which is not, to me, wouldn't be a bad thing, but I just hate, like, don't leave me on a fucking cliffhanger and then wait.
You gotta wait a year.
Sorry.
Maybe longer, because it was damn near 2 years from season 2 to season 3. Like, I don't want to wait
But
that
we
long.
also had to deal with COVID and a lot of other things that were happening. So
All right, yeah. Hold on. Let CJ finish his ranking, and then we'll talk about this. I promise. I'm sorry.
It like Kyle said, it gave us a lot. It gave us a lot in this one episode. It gave us happiness, laughter, funny fucking moments. Funny moments. I mean, just within the first 10 minutes, Grogu is killing the whole freaking scene. He is just making everybody roll. And then it turns very serious, I don't know if I can do this. I don't know if I can do this. I don't think I'm strong enough to do this. I tried it the last time, and I practically destroyed our planet. From Bo-Katan to Din saying, I will follow you until you're dead or I'm dead. And even then, your song is not written. That was my favorite line from him this episode. Even I will follow you until your song is written. I loved that. That was such a big, you are the leader we need. You are the leader we want. We wouldn't turn to anybody else in this moment but you, because you were on Mandalore when the Siege of Mandalore happened, when the Night of 1,000 Tears happened, and you're here now to retake it. And we're going to follow you until then.
So
it was huge for me for that. And then it had sacrifice. A lot of these episodes haven't been giving us a lot of sacrifice. It was more, oh, cool, the hero made it out in the end. Oh, cool, that guy made it out in the end. Even characters that we didn't want to make it out still made it out. Like, there was moments this season where I was kind of like, you could have died and I would have been a little bit happier, not going to lie. But this episode gave us that sacrifice, gave us the laughter, gave us the love, and the emotions, like a lot of emotions. So I think that's why I got the 8.5.
So Garrison, do your ranking really quick. I have something to say on the whole Bo-Katan thing.
I rank it a 6. I mean, it was better than what we've had in the past, but at the same time, I felt like some of it was really rushed. They tried to have that whole sad scene about the guy sacrificing himself. He's a side character who's barely had any lines. It's kind of hard to get emotionally invested and have this dramatic scene of him sacrificing himself to save everyone when we know nothing about him and we haven't had that much emotional connection to the character for me. So that was a little weird. Some of the plot points that we've kind of already been over. I still think Bo-Katan, in previous seasons, she was like a side character, and now all of a sudden she's the main focus, and the main plot behind Mandalore is just kind of weird. I would have wished that kind of was more flushed out.
Somebody brought up a good point, and I don't know if it was in one of, I've seen it somewhere, but they said everybody thinks that the Mandalorian is about Din Djarin.
It's not at all.
It's about the Mandalorians.
Yeah.
It's the Mandalorian is about being Mandalorian and what it means to be Mandalorian. And I think it was in doesn't John say that in the interview? CJ, did you see that interview that John said? I'm pretty sure that's why I seen it. John says everybody has this misconception that the Mandalorian is about Mandalore or about Din Djarin. It's about the Mandalorian.
Yeah.
So it's not, and I think a lot of people take that too far into consideration when they're looking at, they're trying to look at the top ranking people that are part of Mandalorian culture, not just Din Djarin. Din Djarin was kind of like the main character for the first couple seasons because that was the plot point for the first couple seasons, him finding Grogu's people. Now that Grogu and him he came back, Grogu's now a Mandalorian, and Din is there, and now the plot point is more based on just Mandalorians in general. So they're jumping from character to character to kind of show, the importance of Mandalorian and how the Mandalorians will help out in the fight against the First Order, which is the Empire
plus the combat is it's just kind of like whenever they get into a gunfight, everybody's standing straight up. I understand you have Beskar armor, but it's like at least try to get cover. That doesn't mean you're invincible. I don't know. It's just really weird.
So, yeah, there's the gaps, and we saw numerous of them fall because of those armor gaps.
I know. So take cover.
Right. So first of all, Chris called Kyle out for saying, or Kyle, as Django would say, the D is silent. It's just Din Djarin.
Djarin, I thought, hey, fuck it. Why put it in there if you ain't supposed to use it?
It's like the PH in Steven.
Yeah. I like the Django thing, like the D is silent.
So it's Din Djarin.
That's a good movie.
Din Djarin. Okay. I don't know. I've been saying Djarin since the beginning, so I don't. Fuck, I thought that's what it was.
Dijon mustard.
Just what do you
Sean?
say?
Did you say Sean mustard?
No, Dijon.
Oh, I thought you said Deshaun mustard, and I was like, oh my gosh, that's hilarious.
I'm done.
Pterodactyl. Okay, anyway. So on the
There should be pterodactyl, just like
I say pterodactyl.
It's cano. It's not no. It's cano.
I say pterodactyl and canine.
It's canal.
Hey, that's knife.
No, it's
No,
kniffy.
it's knife. And why
It's
the fuck
not
is a
Chipotle,
cane?
it's
Take that
Chipotle.
motherfucker out of there.
It's kniffy.
It is Chipotle.
It's Chipotle.
It is Chipotle.
So Jesus
What
Christ.
All right, go.
are you gonna say, man?
So with the whole Paz Vizsla thing, I disagree that he is a side character, but he isn't. You said that we didn't get there wasn't really a whole lot of development. There wasn't really anything there. However, we did, Vizsla was this very brute, very mean. We have found out he's a dad. He in fact said, "Fuck all of." Yeah, he's like, "Fuck all my family. I'm saving my son. I don't give a shit if the big ass bird takes them away."
Clint says he's not dead. He better be dead. He got stabbed 3 times.
So I kind of disagree because we see him go from this very big brute bully to Din to now granted, I think it was a very unjustified sacrifice. He didn't have to. He could have easily jumped through that hole, and he just could have
Yeah, it just seems
gone backwards
really
with
quick.
it.
really quick to me and very like
it was an amazing fight scene
what
though.
the crap?
But I disagree. There was a character development there. You got to see Vizsla change. He got a little bit softer. He was nicer in how he spoke sometimes. His just overall, granted, it's still slightly robotic because of the mask, or the helmet, but he did get a little bit softer, and we saw a little bit more of a softer side instead of that big ass brute bully that we saw at first.
Star Wars team leader brought up something earlier. He says, so nobody's going to say anything, and nobody noticed the probe droid in the middle of the city.
I said that as soon as it dropped down, I was like, it's a robot octopus, and it's just
like nobody noticed this probe droid is just in the middle of the freaking Coruscant street, just floating around. Like, hey, there's like a fucking, you know what I'm saying, Imperial probe droid just floating around.
Maybe they repurposed it. I don't know.
Star Wars team leader, his big ass wasn't going to fit through that hole.
No, she didn't cut that nearly big enough.
To my Bo-Katan slight little rant, I was talking to CJ about it a little bit earlier, and he actually looked at me and goes, oh, now that you like Bo-Katan, you're going to have a whole defense for Bo-Katan. And I said, no, I actually had this defense before I liked her. I remember everybody was like, she just breaking her down. She's a wuss. Why is she sulking in her castle? She's given up. This isn't Bo-Katan, blah, 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 blah. And I do agree. That isn't Bo-Katan. However, especially with this episode, it definitely does put a little bit further into that. So not only did her home fall, she's the only one of her family, right? Yeah. She's the only one left in her family. She lost her home planet, her friends, her everything she knew. And on top of that, now we find out that she is actually the reason that Mandalore fell. She is behind everything. So it wasn't just Mandalore that fell. It was her entire sense of self. She didn't know who she was outside of being a Mandalorian. So she didn't have a purpose outside of that. So now that she has a purpose, now that she has kind of gotten pulled, granted, Din was the one who helped pull her. Din and mainly Grogu was the one who helped pull her. She was
given this. Yeah.
No, well, pulled from the seat that she was sitting on, because her ass wasn't leaving that stone uncomfortable fucking seat.
That's why Grogu,
but my argument to that is
I don't get behind like why is she the leader? She's been sitting on her ass the whole time, not doing anything.
This is my argument to all that. When we first met Bo-Katan in season 2, Bo-Katan was a badass. She came in, she was whooping ass, she was going after Moff Gideon, and she was about it. She was a straight gangster. And then as soon as she didn't get the LightSaber back, as soon as Mando got it, now you want to go sit down and pout.
Exactly. Now that it's easy,
that's what made me. That's what ruined me about Bo-Katan, and why I was like, she just sat there, she just gave up. You was a badass in season 2. You know what I'm saying? Just because you didn't want to get it, you didn't get the LightSaber back, you're gonna go pout and just give up. That's the thing that's what bothered me about Bo-Katan. You know, and then even the whole little way that she got the LightSaber from Din, which was bullshit. It's just like, it's like they made her badass, and then they making her into this. They're changing her character from her previous state, just like they did with Boba Fett. They changed his character from who he really is to this other character. Well, and that's the things that I don't like. I don't change who the character, especially when it's your project.
So I just want to put this out there. If you look through all of the Star Wars movies, TV shows, everything, the whole series of Star Wars, the one theme that is behind everything is redemption. That is what Star Wars is about, is redeeming yourself, redeeming your sense of self, redeeming your family worth, your whatever it is. Redemption is Star Wars. And if you look kind of past the forefront of the story that's happening, you can see that greater theme, and that's what she had. They had to write her to fall in order to redeem herself.
Well, she already fell.
Well, that's what she's saying.
That's
Like,
they
I-
had.
I can understand like her frustration,
The up
her
and
being
down
depressed.
is what I don't. Okay, so
How
she
I
goes
see
from she goes from Rebels, or from well, Rebels and from Clone Wars as a badass. All right, then we come into the series in Mandalore season 2. She's a badass, and then they drop her down. You know what I'm saying? Because basically she went and pouted because she didn't win the Darksaber. She didn't get the Darksaber. She went and pouted, and then she didn't even. Then she goes and she comes back, and now she saves Din. She's a badass again. Then in this episode, if you really look at it, she's down again because she has to sit there and tell them all that she made this agreement with Moff Gideon to save her planet, which didn't work. That's why she was so mad. But you still went and pouted. Now you're pouting again about the mistakes that you made, and then you got to go back and you got to be the hero again. It's like this up and down shit. It's like you're not writing the character. If Bo-Katan's going to be a badass, she should be a badass. She's not going to be a badass and then go pout. You know what I'm saying? It's just the same thing with Boba Fett. You take the most baddest bounty hunter in the fucking world and turn him into a baker, a town saver. You know what I'm saying? That's not who his character is.
So Obi-Wan
I
actually.
can understand a little bit of the.
Hold on,
pouting,
let's see what she's got to say.
I don't have a
Hang
problem
Hang
with
on,
that.
it's okay.
Sorry.
You're good. Go ahead.
So Obi-Wan actually said something. So that's I was actually gonna get there. She didn't give. So you see her season 1, all of that Clone Wars. She's this big ass. She's a badass. She's taking no shit. She's kicking ass. She's taking names. She's got the saber. Now she's looking for the saber. Okay, so she loses her faction. She loses Wolf and everybody. Casca and everybody else. She loses her clan. That was ultimately what pushed her to be like, you know what? Fuck this, I'm done. Everything that I do, I am destroying. I am fucking up royally. Everything that I am trying to do, I had the group put to I had the group. The whole plan was to get the saber so we could take back Mandalore.
Right.
Okay. Well, the group left her. Din ends up with the saber. Okay. She's like, okay, you know what? They left me. Maybe I'm not what's best for Mandalore anyway. Din's a pretty okay dude. Whatever. It's his problem now because every single step that I take to bringing back my home has crashed and burned. And
even on top of that, you also have the realization of like,
why are you assuming that they left her and she didn't leave them?
Because of how wolves acted.
Well, and she even states in the beginning of the season when she's asked about it, where is your faction? She stated, she's like, they left me. They followed Wolf. They did not want me. They wanted Wolf.
Yeah,
especially with how she was telling the story of what happened with Moff Gideon and the fall of Mandalore, where there was Casca that was staring at her like, are you really going to tell this story? Are you sure you want to share this? They were there. They saw her be the reason that Mandalore fell. And so when they couldn't find the Darksaber in order to bring it back, Wolves was like, okay, cool. It's mine now. Go fuck yourself. You're the reason we don't have our home anymore.
Yeah. So I'm okay with the fact of her. Like, I understand the moping part of it. So I disagree with Kyle where I don't think it's necessarily like not being true to the character. That's not the problem I have.
I think it's a lot of getting kicked while you're down,
Yeah, well, dude, she lost everything. It's her, like, she probably blames herself for losing Mandalore. Not to mention all the shit that happened after that. She lost the Darksaber. She probably feels fucking useless. My thing is, I don't think she's fit to be a leader now. Because she's now handed the leadership back by Mandalorian by giving her the dark saber. I don't think she's fit to be a leader. Okay, she's not okay with being a leader until it's basically given to her on silver platter, until it's easy to be the leader now.
Except
That's my argument.
She was willing to fight for it. I mean, even when you know, Axe is like, you know, you don't even hold the saber. You don't even hold the dark saber. And Din kind of stepped back and thought about it for a second. You could see her face be like, okay, where the fuck are you going with this? Because Din starts to talk and she's looking over and you can see her trying to put this whole map together. She didn't even think that she was worthy of the saber.
Yeah, but it wasn't until the convent was like, oh, we want you to be the. It wasn't until the armorer even said anything. She had no interest in being leader, didn't care anymore until it was basically handed it until she had support.
Well, you think about it, Sabine handed her the saber. You know what I'm saying? She didn't fight Sabine for the saber. So she was handed the saber to rule Mandalore. She lost the saber. Then she's handed the saber back again. And she's failed royally every time that she's been in a position of leadership. So I agree with you, Garrison. I don't think that she should be the leader. If anybody should be the leader, it should, and that's one of the other reasons that I think that the armorer is the one is going to be the traitor, is because, like, dude, she could have whooped Mando and took the saber. So why didn't she do it? Why did she put somebody that she knows this repeatedly fails as the leader back in a position of leadership? You know what I'm saying? It just doesn't make sense to me when overall she has been a better leader to her tribe than anybody else has been. So why is she not trying to take that leadership? It just doesn't make sense to me.
Because Bo-Katan, she explained. Sorry, Kyle.
You were saying something.
Yeah, you were. Go, Kyle.
What the hell? Well, just it doesn't make any sense. Like, she's been the leader of this tribe this whole time, and for her not to want to be the leader, when she could, I guarantee she could whoop Bo-Katan's ass. You know what I'm saying? She took out 20 stormtroopers with a hammer. You know what I'm saying? She's way doper but she's not even trying. And she's putting somebody that she knows has failed time and time again back in a position of leadership. That doesn't make no sense.
So I have a possible theory behind that. So the armor has always been about, you know, this is the way, this is the rules of Mandalore, blah, 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 blah. Ultimately, she has also been about redemption because she shoved Mando aside and was like, hey, Din, you got to go redeem yourself if you want to be Mandalorian again. But she specifically chose Bo-Katan because Bo-Katan went through the waters. She didn't take her helmet off. She walked both ways. And the armorer said that. She said, you walked both ways. You... The helmeted and the unhelmeted, you know that our clans don't like each other, and you're the only one who has been on both sides of this divide that could possibly bring everybody back. Because I can't fucking do it because I've never taken my helmet off and I'm sticking to my guns there. They're not going to listen to me.
She's taking her helmet off the next episode. Watch.
Probably. But that's where I see it as a possible answer to your it doesn't make any sense. It
just doesn't. I mean, even with you explaining it, it doesn't make any sense just because of the simple fact of that technically they have been like, they have more rights to Mandalore than the Mandalorians that are coming. Some of them, like, their whole philosophy is about Mandalorian. It's about the original ways of Mandalore, not about this new way that's failed time and time again. But I mean, it all boils down to the way that John is going to write it. I mean, even who was it? Bodhi says she had blood rights to leadership and is a superior fighter. Mando's let the best fighter lead. She is already the top Mando back on Death Watch days. So, I mean, even when they brought up Death Watch, the only thing she said is Death Watch doesn't exist anymore. So I don't know. It just doesn't make sense to me. Everything that she's doing, it doesn't make sense. That's what's making me think that she's a traitor. I think that she has something going on with fucking Moff Gideon. There's a reason that their helmets match. We're gonna find out that's his wife.
It's his wife.
Listen, I didn't like the armor in the first time that I saw her, and I was like, "Hey, hang on a second, she got horns." And CJ's like, "No, she's just a little bit crazy. It's fine. Like, she's just a leader of a cult. It's fine. She's crazy, but she's fine." And now, as we're progressing, I'm like, "No. She's still a badass. Still don't fucking trust her."
Something about this whole episode just kind of made it like everything that she was doing was like, what the fuck? Like, usually she's by the forge. She doesn't leave the forge. She doesn't do shit. She walks outside. She let everybody else fight that dragon thing, and she didn't do shit. You know what I'm saying? She don't do shit. She's a leader. And for her to be the way she was acting this episode, the way she was doing it, just I don't know. It just made shit like, I don't know. I just don't trust her for some reason.
And wouldn't you think that the armorer would want to stay at the forge and fight for the forge?
Yeah, especially because she's the armorer.
And she was the one that was pushing for, okay, we got to find the Great Forge. We must take back Mandalore, and we are starting with the forge. They get to the forge, and she dips out with all the wounded instead of being like, "Hey, you random citizen and you random citizen, take them back up."
That's a great point.
Yeah, I don't know.
We won't till next week.
Yeah, we already been on here for an hour and a half.
Fair.
Yeah, we didn't really get the news. All the news that's out right now is basically everything about Celebration. It's going to be talked about for a while. Celebration is, that's basically the news. Keep an eye out for any Finn stuff. Anything that comes up with Finn or Poe popping up.
Yeah.
If any of those two things pop up, it's probably going to confirm that they're in the new movie that's coming out. Because ain't they how it's going? The first movie is going to be the Jedi Returns movie, or the new Jedi Order, right? And then the second movie is going to be the Dawn of the Jedi, which I'm super excited for that.
The last movie is the Mandalorian movie.
And then the last one's the Mandalorian movie. That's what they didn't really ever say that, but that's what's speculated just because of time frame. Because we know that one got to be last because they still got a lot of building up to get to everything going into one thing for them to fight the First Order. So I don't know. I'm kind of excited to see the new Jedi Order. Not so much because I want to see Daisy really. I want to see who this new bad guy is going to be. That's what I'm excited. I want to see who the new Sith or the new bad guys is going to be.
And somehow Palpatine returned again.
Yeah,
That's
if they do
what I
that
mean.
shit again,
Somehow
I'll be
Palpatine
done with
returned.
anything that has to do with the Skywalker
Return
saga.
squared.
And me and CJ had a little philosophy that we said earlier. We were talking about earlier. What if Palpatine actually did essence transfer into Thrawn?
Oh my
and
gosh.
all of these Palpatines are just clones. And that's why they're making such a big deal about Thrawn.
This question and many more answered in the next episode.
That would be so dumb.
I was thinking that earlier for some reason. I'm like, dude, that would I'd be like, God damn, man. All right, so we're out of here. Everybody, we will see you guys Saturday, same time as usual. And stay outrageous, and may the force be with you.
Make good choices.
Thank you for tuning in to LSR. If you've enjoyed the show, consider subscribing so you can be notified when new episodes are released. If you would like to be a guest on the show or just want to give us some feedback, feel free to email us. You can also reach out to us on all major social media platforms. LightSaber Radio is produced by PicFilm Media and is a Swaycast original, starring Garrison Turcott, CJ Elliott, and Kyle McDaniel. And don't forget to join us next time for more adventures in a galaxy far, far away.